What's up guys, I'm BTC. Today I'm going to show you everything you need to know about the brand new hero Ashe. All the attacks, abilities, tips, tricks, and more. The newest hero in the Overwatch roster is Ashe. She is a high DPS character in the damage role with a moderate skill floor and a high skill ceiling. Her abilities are on longer cooldowns, making ability management a critical part of her gameplay, but by far the most important thing to have is good accuracy, as aiming down the sights is her primary source of damage. Let's start by going over her attacks and abilities. Ashe's primary attack is the Viper. It's a hit scan that does 40 damage per attack, dropping down to 20 with fall off. The fall off range begins at 20 meters and ends at 40 meters. The rate of fire is 4 per second, and the reload time is 4.25 seconds for a full reload. However, Ashe will reload one round at a time, and it can be cancelled anytime the player wants. Alternate fire is the Viper with aim down the sights, or ADS for short. It's a pinpoint hit scan, meaning every shot goes exactly where the crosshair is. The damage is 85, dropping down to 42.5 with fall off. The fall off range begins at 30 meters and ends at 60 meters. The rate of fire is 1.4 per second, and the movement penalty while ADS is 20%. Ashe's first ability is Dynamite. It has two types of damage. The first is the initial explosion, which deals 75, dropping down to 30 with fall off. The second is a fire damage over time, which does 100 total damage at 20 per second. The area of effect is 5 meters, and the cooldown is 10 seconds. The Dynamite will detonate automatically after 2 seconds on the ground, or instantly whenever Ashe shoots it. The Coach Gun gives Ashe both damage and mobility. The total damage is 90, the knockback effect for both Ashe and whoever gets hit is 9 meters, and the cooldown is 10 seconds. Ashe can use this to propel herself either away from the enemy or high up into the air in order to get on high ground. Ashe's ultimate will summon B.O.B, and he'll charge in until he hits an enemy or a wall. Any enemies he hits with the charge will take 120 damage. He will then set up in a turret mode where he deals 14 damage per hit, a total of 1092 for the full duration. His rate of fire is 8 per second. The duration for turret mode is 10 seconds. There is no duration while he is charging in. B.O.B has 1200 health. The game will treat B.O.B as a 7th player. He can capture and contest the point, be healed, get friendly buffs, and enemy debuffs. Now let's move on to some tips and tricks. We're going to start with Ashe's reload. It's unique in that you can reload one round at a time and cancel it whenever you want. Now, going from empty to full takes quite a while. It's 4.25 seconds. It's the longest full reload in the game. This means that you don't want to ever really put yourself in that situation. You want to be reloading fairly often. But you don't just want one round at a time, because whenever you begin the reload animation, it takes 0.5 seconds, and then every round after that is 0.3 seconds. So to be more efficient, you generally want to try to reload 4 rounds or more at any particular time. Moving on to the attacks, using ADS is not the same thing as a scope. Ashe's weapon has significant drop-off where things like Ana and Widowmaker do not. The best distance to attack is at medium range, when your weapon will still do maximum damage but keeps Ashe at a relatively safe distance from the enemy. And remember, at long range, hipfire only does 20 per hit, and it's not generally a good idea to do that. After every attack, there's a delay before you can make the next. With hipfire, this is a very short delay. With ADS, it's a little bit longer. This means if you try to ADS and then hipfire, it's going to be a little bad because the delay is so long. However, if you hipfire and then ADS, it's much faster. You can actually get a quick 2-hit combo if you land the ADS critical. For the abilities, Dynamite can deal quite a bit of damage and should be used very often, almost every single time it's off cooldown. However, the Coach Gun, you should use it a little more conservatively because it's a very powerful escape tool in addition to giving you the damage and mobility. Dynamite is a great tool for forcing enemies out of a specific area. Even if it doesn't deal damage, you can throw it on the ground and force the enemy to move away from that spot, or off the payload or capture point. A nice little trick is if you don't move your mouse after throwing the dynamite, you can always hit it while it's in the air and detonate it early. A good strategy with the dynamite is to throw it to the side or above an enemy barrier and then shoot it so it hits all of the enemies that are behind that barrier. Or if an enemy is hiding around the corner, you can use the same strategy to hit them even if you can't see them. Dynamite is a great tool for dealing with an enemy that was put to sleep, a Mei in an ice block, or a Reaper in Wraith form. Remember that it has a 2-second timer when it hits the ground, but if needed, you can detonate it early by shooting it. The coach gun can be used to gain quite a bit of vertical mobility, allowing you to get not only on high ground, but also take flanking routes and attack the enemy from unsuspecting angles. Even if the coach gun gets blocked by a barrier, deflected by a Genji, or matrixed by D.Va, it will still push you backwards, giving you the space you need. For Ashe's ultimate, you can use B.O.B to provide your own source of flanking damage. Send him toward the enemy at one angle while you move to attack at a different angle. When the enemy retreats from B.O.B's damage, they may find themselves right in the middle of your sights. Sometimes the charge effect from B.O.B isn't needed, and instead you can use him as a bodyguard and have him begin attacking immediately. To do so, simply aim at a nearby wall so that he appears right next to you, and then will immediately start attacking. You can hide behind B.O.B and continue your own attacks, while many of the enemy attacks are absorbed by B.O.B being in front of you. As mentioned earlier, for the majority of things, B.O.B will function as if he's another playable character. This means that he can be healed, nano boosted, damage amplified, slapped, hacked, stunned, and more. I made a video going over all of the different interactions that Ashe has with her attacks, her abilities, and the ultimate B.O.B. If you want to find out more about those interactions, there'll be a link on screen and down below. Thanks for watching, and if you'd like to see more, subscribe and hit that bell so you don't miss anything. Also, come hang out in my Discord server and my Twitch live stream. Special thanks to my Patreon supporters. If you'd like to see what kind of cool VIP rewards you can get, check the links down below. And remember, always blame the controller, because it's never your fault.